felt the need unprompted to tell the media yesterday that Shedeur Sanders was not his pick. Let's take a listen to what the owner had to say about selecting Shedeur.
Good process, okay? And if you just told me, see, we picked him on Saturday, right? Friday night driving home, y'all were going to pick Shedeur, I would say that's not happening.
Shedeur Sanders fans, buckle up, because you are not going to believe the circus that just rolled through Cleveland. Forget the normal preseason drama. Forget the usual camp battles, fluff pieces. This one is pure chaos with a dash of sabotage, starring none other than Browns owner Jimmy Haslam. Before we dive deeper, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a second of this unfolding QB drama. We're talking about one of the most jaw-droppingly disrespectful moments I've seen from an NFL owner in years. And trust me, I've covered this league long enough to see some doozies. Haslam, yes, that Jimmy Haslam, the man presiding over the NFL's most infamous quarterback carousel, just took a public shot at his own rookie quarterback, Shedeur Sanders. Not a subtle jab, not an offhand remark that could be brushed off as a misunderstanding. Nope, this was a full-on, front-facing, cameras-rolling moment where he essentially said, yeah, I didn't want him. And it wasn't whispered in some back hallway or muttered to a reporter during a commercial break. Haslam stood right there at a press conference podium, lights glaring, reporters stacked 3 rows deep, microphones angled toward his every word. There's the faint whir of camera shutters, the rustle of journalists flipping notebook pages, and in the middle of that, he just volunteered it. Nobody asked him to take that shot. No leading question pushed him into a corner. He just opened the door, walked in, and lit a match. The reaction was immediate. You could feel the ripple in the NFL universe within minutes. Shannon Sharpe, Ryan Clark, Keyshawn Johnson, 3 of the most respected, unfiltered voices in the game, were on social media and TV shows within hours, jaws practically on the floor. They weren't just disagreeing with Haslam, they were unloading on him. You could practically hear the disbelief in their voices. Why would an owner do this? What possible good could come from this? And it wasn't just them. The timeline blew up with former players, journalists, even old-school Browns legends, guys who bled for the team in the 80s and 90s, now sitting in recliners in Ohio or Arizona, were logging on to post versions of the same thing. What in the world is Jimmy Haslam thinking? To really understand why this stings so bad, you have to remember where this franchise has been. Since the year 2000, the Cleveland Browns have started 35 different quarterbacks. 35, that's not a typo. That's more than some fan bases have seen in a century. Brady Quinn, Johnny Manziel, Colt McCoy, Brandon Weeden, Deshaun Kaiser, Baker Mayfield, Jacoby Brissett, and about 24 others whose jerseys now sell for $3.99 at thrift stores across the state. It's been a revolving door of maybe he's the guy, followed by nope, he's not the guy. Finally, they have a rookie in Shedeur Sanders, who on paper has the tools, the pedigree, and the mentality to be different. A quarterback who could actually stabilize this storm. And what does the owner do? Instead of standing tall behind him, instead of projecting confidence, Haslam takes the mic and basically says, he wasn't my pick. That's not just bad optics, that's self-sabotage. If you thought maybe this was just a vague, easily misinterpreted comment, let me set the record straight. It wasn't. According to multiple reports, Haslam was asked about the Browns' draft process, an innocent enough question for an off-season press conference, and his answer instantly became a headline. He didn't just say Shedeur wasn't his personal choice. He spelled it out. If you told me on Friday night that we'd be drafting Shedeur Sanders on Saturday, Haslam said, my response would have been, that's not happening. Pause for a second, and imagine that landing in Shedeur's ears. You're a rookie. You've just been drafted into the NFL, a dream you've chased since you were a kid. You've been working through grueling practices, trying to absorb a new playbook, shaking hands with teammates you grew up watching on TV, and your owner just told the entire football world he wouldn't have picked you if it were up to him. And Haslam didn't stop there. In an attempt to soften the blow, or maybe to dodge blame, he tacked on, "It was all Andrew Berry's call." So now, not only has he taken a swipe at his rookie quarterback, he's essentially thrown his own general manager under the bus in the same breath. Talk about teamwork. Shannon Sharpe, sitting across from co-hosts on his show, leaned back in his chair and shook his head. "This is exactly why the Browns have been a graveyard for quarterbacks since 2000, he said. "When you've had 35 guys under center in 2 decades and you've owned the team for more than a decade, you own the results, you own the carousel, and now you want to make it clear this one wasn't your idea? That's not leadership, that's insecurity." Ryan Clark was just as blunt. "Owners aren't supposed to do this. You either believe in your guy or you keep your mouth shut until you do. What's the upside here?" NFL insiders didn't mince words either. They started calling it for what it looked like: a calculated attempt to mess with Shedeur's head before he'd even thrown a pass in a preseason game. And you know what? They might be right. Think about it. This kid has done everything right since arriving in Cleveland. He's been early to meetings, he's stayed late in the weight room, he's put in extra time with receivers after practice, working on timing routes until the grounds crew is flicking off the stadium lights. He's signed autographs for kids when other players have already ducked into the locker room. And instead of being rewarded with a little public backing, he gets a comment that could rattle even a seasoned veteran. But if there's one thing people keep forgetting about Shedeur Sanders, it's that he's built for this. Here's the thing people keep learning the hard way about Shedeur Sanders. Doubt doesn't break him, it sharpens him. He's been hearing it for years, ever since his high school days at Trinity Christian. You're only starting because of your dad. You'll never be more than a system quarterback. You can't handle the speed of the next level. At Jackson State, they said the SWAC was too soft for his numbers to mean anything. Then he dominated, week after week, dragging the Tigers to wins with late-game poise and pinpoint throws. At Colorado, they told him the jump to Power 5 would humble him. Instead, he shattered expectations. 4,000 passing yards, national spotlight, and a handful of comeback drives that had even his critics admitting the kid could ball. Now in Cleveland, the whispers have a new flavor. He's not the owner's guy. He won't even get the reps to prove himself. He'll fold when the pressure hits. But Shedeur, he's not folding. And here's where a little detail from Shannon Sharpe's show made me respect the rookie even more. Apparently Shedeur told his dad, Coach Prime, not to come to camp yet. Why? Because he's not getting many first-team reps right now, and he wants to earn them before anyone, even his biggest supporter, sees him work. That's not just maturity, that's competitive pride. Most rookies, especially those with famous fathers, would be on the phone every night saying, "Pop, you gotta get up here. You gotta talk to the coaches." They'd want family in the stands, on the sidelines, in the locker room, anything to remind them they're not alone in the grind. Shedeur's saying, "I'll call you when I've got something worth showing." That's leadership before you've even taken a regular season snap. Meanwhile, the Browns training camp has its own internal drama. 4 quarterbacks fighting for roster spots. Joe Flacco, the Super Bowl MVP turned mentor, whose arm isn't what it used to be, but whose football IQ is off the charts. Kenny Pickett, the former Steeler still rehabbing injuries and trying to reclaim his confidence. Dylan Gabriel, a developmental prospect with raw tools but not much polish. Shedeur Sanders, the rookie with the upside, and now the chip on his shoulder. NFL rosters rarely keep 4 QBs. Somebody's going. And if you're talking pure potential, there's only one guy in that group who could be the face of the franchise in 5 years. Veteran receivers have already started to notice. Amari Cooper, never one for empty compliments, told reporters the ball gets there on time with him. It's not floating, it's not late, it's right where you want it. On the defensive side, cornerback Denzel Ward admitted he doesn't panic when the rush comes. That's rare for a rookie. It's the kind of respect you can't fake in an NFL locker room. The whispers around Browns camp are getting louder, and not just from reporters. You can feel it in the way the dog pound talks on local sports radio. You can see it in the way fans linger after practice, hoping Shedeur comes over to sign a football or take a selfie. The vibe isn't just hope anymore, it's curiosity mixed with a dash of defiance. Blub, because everyone knows what's coming. Preseason. The second those exhibition games kick off, the leash comes off. No more limited reps excuses. No more hiding behind depth charts. It's Shedeur versus a live pass rush, a roaring crowd, and a chance to show Cleveland what they've really got. And the scary part for Jimmy Haslam? If Shedeur pops, if he drops a 70-yard bomb on the run or leads a 2-minute drill for a game-winning touchdown, the chants will start. Shedeur, Shedeur, and the cameras will find Haslam in his luxury box, pretending like he's been in Shedeur's corner since day one. It's not like we haven't seen this movie before. Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick. The Patriots barely noticed until Drew Bledsoe got hurt. Josh Allen got booed on draft night and now owns Buffalo. Russell Wilson was drafted to be a backup until he blew the doors off training camp and never looked back. In the NFL, the quickest way to win over a city is to prove everyone wrong, especially the people writing the checks. But here's the poetic twist. This whole saga started because Haslam wanted to make sure the world knew Shedeur wasn't his pick. If Shedeur ends up saving this season, that quote becomes immortal, in the worst way for an owner's ego. You can already see the media narrative loading in the chamber. Second, Week 1. Shedeur continues to develop behind the vets. Second, Week 5. Browns offense stagnant. Time for a change. Second, Week 8. Sanders steps in, leads comeback win. Second, Week 12. The rookie the owner didn't want has Cleveland in playoff contention. In that final chapter, Haslam calls Sanders the future, pretends like he believed all along. Second, because if there's one thing football fans love more than a hero, it's a hero with a chip on his shoulder. And if there's one thing Shedeur Sanders has right now, it's a mountain-sized chip. So here we are, the rookie's sharpening his sword in the shadows. The fan base is restless. The media is circling. The owner, probably wishing he just kept his mouth shut. And the stage, about to be lit up under the bright lights of preseason. Browns fans, buckle up. This isn't just about football anymore. It's about pride, redemption, and proving that sometimes the best way to light a fire under a player is to doubt him in public. If Shedeur's history has taught us anything, it's this. When the world bets against him, he doesn't fold, he cashes in. And if that happens here, Cleveland's about to witness one of the most satisfying revenge arcs in NFL history. So don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin.